before we get into this Dead of Night episode, I am going to do a quick little recap for you about what's been going on, because it's been a while since this series started, and you can skip to the next chapter if you'd like. I would invite you guys to rewatch the series because it's very complex, but I'll still just do a quick recap for you if you don't want to do that. So previously on Dead of Night, Isadora left her home in Windenburg to explore the exciting city nightlife. She started working at the Incarnadine Cabaret and started to get to know 4 staff members in particular. Elena, head entertainer and waitress, Pandora the bouncer, Rio the lead of the cabaret's band Subhumans, and Soren the assistant manager of the club. Soon after getting comfortable at the Incarnadine Cabaret, Isadora was attacked. She lost her memory of the attack, only sure she was attacked because her parents were on the phone while it happened. After searching for what the hell happened to her that night, Rio told her the truth. Vampires are in San Myshuno. Because of this, Isadora tried to leave San Myshuno because she felt like she was surrounded by crazy people, but she couldn't. It brought her way too much pain in a very strange manner. Soren warned Isadora she really can't get involved, though she tried to stress to him that she was already involved, but to little avail. Pandora tried to introduce the big boss Nathaniel to Isadora, hopefully giving her some answers, and Nathaniel didn't want Isadora to resign, as well as just overall just very threatening vibes, and he got angry at Isadora, though Pandora did defend her. Pandora was kind of super supportive with Isadora's issue with leaving San Myshuno. Isadora showed her what it was like when she tried to leave, though Pandora wasn't sure why it was happening either. When Isadora showed her that she can't leave, both of them risked their lives doing so because Pandora was out in the sun. There have been so many disappearances in San Myshuno, most being people who are assumably dead, but some of the bodies were never found. Isadora got quite into Elena and felt betrayed when she found out Elena was a vampire, so it took her a while to get back in touch with her. But once they did get back in touch, their relationship was pretty mended and back to being pretty sweet. Because Rio told the truth to Isadora, he did ask for a favor. Isadora is an honest person, so she asked him what the favor was after processing the truth. He wanted to find the cure to vampirism. It's just a myth for now, but he wants help from somebody who isn't a vampire. Because he doesn't really want to be a vampire anymore, and he wants to have a human friend to help him because he hopes to be human. He can't busk and tour the world as a vampire. Nathaniel said he wanted to use Isadora as bait for the attacker, whoever they seem to be, but we're not sure if that's actually his motive, if he's actually legitimately wanting to do that. He told her that her friend group would drop like flies if she didn't try to help investigating the vampire killer. It seems he expects for her to report back to him if she does get attacked, and that's kind of the expectation, but we haven't been attacked. Pandora snuck Isadora into the archive, and they found a lot of weird information about a place called Ambrosia Hollow from old newspapers. Is this related to vampires? Soren tells Isadora that the recent situation makes him question Nathaniel. He's worried Nathaniel will use mind control to make Isadora a victim, but he doesn't really know how he'd do that. Rio said that Nathaniel is always hiding something, and that he has his own agenda. Everybody is kind of suspicious of Nathaniel, because Isadora finds that the pieces of a puzzle that Nathaniel gave her just don't fit together. The cabaret is just a club. Why would somebody try to destroy it? Vampires aren't inherently evil. She read that in the book from the archives, so what's the point? Even his closest advisors have no idea. Rio and Isadora dove into vampire myth tomes together to uncover the possible cure for vampirism. They found the cure only works for those without severe mutations like the withered stomach, which Elena possesses, meaning she could not turn human again. Elena got Pandora to give the death reports of the 2 waitresses to her, and they had a good idea that the deaths were linked. After Elena found the body of their friend Kira, Elena got Pandora to give the death reports of the 2 waitresses to her, as they had a good idea the deaths were linked. Though there were slightly different symptoms. The previous waitress who died had blood gushing from her eyes, nose, mouth, and ears, which is largely similar to what Isadora experienced at the border of San Myshuno, which is frightening. Isadora gathered parts of the recipe to make a cure and a drink with her bartending skills. When collecting ingredients, they found one of the ingredients, wolfsbane, was bought in bulk by Nathaniel. The erratic wolfsbane dealer told her she smells like something, so that's weird. When Rio was ready to take the cure, he apologized in advance before Isadora could really realize what he meant. He had read a part of the tome that said it was quite rare to survive the cure. Most don't wake up. He directly lied to her about it even, because he wanted so badly to be human, even at the risk of never waking up. He hid it from Isadora and passed out in front of her. Pandora helped move him to a coffin that would hopefully at very least have Rio waking up as a vampire again. At this point, Isadora was informed that no one really expects the cure to work, as the tomes they took it from were incredibly old, and about as credible as just your average myth. Pandora firmly believes you can't reverse vampirism, so all hope is lost for Isadora that Rio would be human again. Nathaniel is being secretive again. It's like he knows something about Isadora that not even she knows, as if her attacks really bother him, get under his skin unlike a mere human could ever do before. Soren claims he's sure Isadora getting attacked is not Nathaniel's goal, it's a distraction. While sitting with Rio's casket, Isadora had to break the news to hopeful Elena that if Rio was cured, Elena still couldn't become human because of her withered stomach. This was devastating for Elena. Isadora met some other vampires who worked on other shifts at the cabaret, seeing as Kira could have really only been killed by a staff member. It seemed a little strange, and somehow got terrified the moment Isadora introduced herself. Nathaniel seems to have developed a somewhat strange obsession with Isadora. She's plaguing his mind, it seems. Pandora informed Isadora that San Myshuno has a lot of disappearances in its history that could be caused by vampires. About 100 years ago, there was an intense series of murders and disappearances just around where the cabaret stands. A lot of deaths in a short amount of time, and they were all shrouded in unsolved mystery. So, could they be linked to what's going on now? Looking into that historical mystery, it led Isadora and Pandora to go to a place called the Gargoyle Repository. After they told the owner of the repository that they were friends of Nathaniel's, the historian excitedly told them about Emperor Hollow, mentioning its destruction and how, if it were to happen again, it would be catastrophic. But he doesn't think it's going to happen again. He said the records were purposely wiped somehow, but a stone tablet transcribed in a different language seems to be all that's left from the town. And he sent the text on the tablet home with Isadora and Pandora. After many restless nights of waiting by Rio's coffin, Rio awoke, coughing blood that wasn't his, with a faint heartbeat in his chest. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like the way I wrote that scene, so I'm sorry. But anyway, now we are up to present day. Hey guys, welcome back to the Rosewood Legacy Dead of Night. It's been a little bit. I'm excited to be back because things are getting good. Rio is so happy to be human, but when he sees Isadora's expression and he realizes how much he worried her and how horrible what he did was to her emotionally, he starts to feel very guilty. After resting for a bit, Rio got on his knees, pleading for Isadora's forgiveness, kind of clinging to her and apologizing over and over rapidly, because he does feel kind of terrible about what he did. But we kind of have to think about our situation and think about how it was pretty hard for him too. We've been through stuff like this before. Elena never disclosed her vampirism so she could have the illusion of being a normal person with Isadora, and Rio lied about the risks of the cure to take a chance at regaining humanity. Of course, both hurt Isadora, but she was able to forgive Elena with a full heart, and she can do the same for Rio. In the end, she just might love both of them, and in a situation as complex and horrifying as the one they're in, she can't bring herself to hold their attempts at survival against them. She doesn't know what it's like to be a vampire. She doesn't know the pain Elena and Rio endured as vampires. So she helped Rio up, hugging him, feeling the newfound warmth in his core, radiating. It was so strange to feel that from him. She had gotten used to the lack of warmth in her companions' physical touch, though she felt warmth from their smiles and words. And now here he is, with a heart beating like her own. And now here they are, just sitting with each other a little awkwardly. Oh my goodness, I did not realize they were on this part with that heck. Anyway, we are here with both Rio and Isadora, and I just added him to my household now because he is not leaving Isadora's sight. He's currently serenading her because he's obsessed with her and very happy that she is here. I also think he's probably adding some apologies into that song because we've actually given notice to the neighbors that Rio is here. and awake and human. A bit crazy to say over text, but I didn't want them walking in unprepared. I've been doing a lot of research on vampires and I heard there's a way to cure that. Isn't it crazy? Well, don't play with me. Alright, first to come in is Elena and 3 raccoons in a trench coat, but we're just gonna ignore that. Hopefully he is like a vampire and cannot come in if I don't want him to. These 2 are out here, so they're all here. I'm pretty sure Elena's crying herself to sleep in my bed right now. Oh my gosh, I just got her out of bed and she's going back. Honey, I know you want to say hi to Rio. Elena comes rushing in, launching herself into a hug with Rio, swearing kind of concerned profanities in his ear as she cups his face with her hands. Your cheeks are flushed, she says. Isadora can tell that her eyes are starting to water, though she tries to brush the tears away. Watching the 2 reunite makes Isadora's heart ache. She knows Elena is happy for Rio, and she also knows Elena is truly hurting. She now knows that other vampires can turn human, just not her. She's going to watch one of her closest friends be able to see the sun again. She just got an adoring sentiment for Rio, which checks out. When Pandora comes in, she's definitely more shocked than anything. She touches Rio's wrist, genuinely shocked to feel a pulse. What the cure was real? What? Her words are just full of absolute disbelief. She then gives Rio a casual pat on the shoulder. Good that you're up. Which is almost exactly what she said to Isadora when she woke up in episode 3. Her grip on his shoulder turns a little stern. Sounds like you owe Isadora an apology, though. You know, she felt like it was her fault that she almost died, right? Isadora... Rio looks away from Pandora, quite ashamed. He did already apologize, but Isadora wouldn't mind if he apologized one more time. Soren is kind of just observing here. After giving a proper amount of hugs, Elena asks how he is doing. He says everyone was convinced the cure was a hoax, but it wasn't. There's no telling who wrote the book, who found the cure, but it wasn't wrong. Rio says he is so lucky. He's so lucky that the tomes were hidden in the archive, and he's so lucky he woke up. He's so excited to be human again. He can't wait to be in the sun. Soren speaks up. Daniel is going to be so mad. Careful. Soren crosses his arms, seeming kind of worried. I don't think he would do anything to you. He's not like that, I think. He seems a lot less sure of Nathaniel than he was when we first met him. Rio looks nervous. I think we're going to try to minimize activities celebrating Rio's human return for now, because it does look like Elena might be on the edge of a breakdown. She's biting her lip very hard to try to keep the tears down. Isadora can tell with just a glance. Rio is so excited to go out in the sun, but by this point, it is dark out anyway. And Elena is actually autonomously going to share kind words with him. Probably, saying bye. Putting his happiness above herself for a moment. So they're gonna head out. Rio's gonna get a good night's sleep so he can explore tomorrow. But Elena has stuck around. She just really needs love right now. She's really struggling. I think she's gonna stay the night. I guess she's kind of supposed to be nocturnal. But, I mean, she's at least mentally exhausted. They are so cute. I think Isadora feels for both Elena and Rio in the pit of her stomach. Happiness for Rio, but she feels almost sick thinking about Elena. Elena basically cries herself to sleep into Isadora's nightclothes. A hug from Isadora is not enough. I want to give her a hug. She was very silent the whole night. She didn't really speak to Isadora even after everybody left. She just kind of melted into her arms, and Isadora understood. Tomorrow, Rio is going to really want Isadora with him while he explores the outside in the daylight, as she is human and she helped him find the cure. He feels like he wants to celebrate with her. We're not going to forget about Elena, not even a little bit. We're definitely going to have to set up some time with her as well. Alright, it's the next day. Elena has headed home. She's supposed to be talking to her right now, but it's glitching, so we didn't get to say an official goodbye to her, which sucks, but... Oh, okay, Elena's back. That's okay, that's cool. Doesn't seem to be currently feeling devastated, which is good. That does not mean she isn't devastated, but she's not at this very moment super sad. We're hungry, so we have to make breakfast for ourselves. I hope that doesn't make Elena feel bad that she can't eat anything. We don't really have a choice, like we need to eat, but I feel bad still. We be flirting in the bathroom. I'm not sure why, but that's what we be doing. She wants to kiss somebody, so we can do that. Oh, no, she's caressing our face. See? Both head over heels. Elena just woke up feeling very flirty, and I can't really blame her for wanting some Isadora time. Does look like she's going away to do some paperwork now. I don't know if she's actually doing paperwork, but that's okay because we do probably have quite the long list of texts from Rio telling us to get our butts over to go outside with him because he's super, super excited. We're gonna go on a little date with Rio. I feel like everything I do is a stab in the back to Elena if it's with Rio, just because of the fact Rio's human and she's not. And she's struggling and he's not anymore. But I mean, this is like the best moment of his life. I'm not gonna ignore him for it. It's complicated. I don't even know where we're gonna go. I think we're probably just gonna hop around town a little bit. The Vitor residence. Are the Vitors living here? That's really interesting. Because I did not move them in. They must have chosen to move to San Myshuno. I think I'll go to this one for now. The karaoke bar, Planet Honey Pop. I forgot to give him pants in this outfit because I must have removed it. So we're gonna change his clothes. I like this outfit. We'll go with this outfit. So right now he is in the sun. Now I know I went to this karaoke bar and Rio does like to sing, but the karaoke bar is inside and Rio generally would like to be outside. Here's that dying robot again. I feel like he's constantly dying here. Sounds like kind of a miserable existence, but okay. So there is a girl busking here and she actually sounds really good, so I don't really want to like stop her, but I think Rio would really like to do it at some point. We do want to drink something, and I think Rio could drink before because he didn't have a withered stomach. But like he's human now, so I feel like he wants to try everything as a human, even if he's done it before. Rio, you can stay outside if you want while I grab the drinks. Nope, actually he's coming in to sit with us because he's attached. Okay, but they are just so pretty, like, Aurora specifically, sorry, but, she's so pretty. I have a thing for Isadora. That's not true. That is true. That's not true. That is true. I think that's gonna give me the ick, so no. And I reset this lady because I don't really care. We can only do a country duet with Rio, but, like, whatever. I don't know why country is the lowest skill. Okay, she's horrible. Love it. And he's not. He just... It's weird to hear him sing in country voice, because his voice is not... That's not what he normally sings. Wow, she's so bad. Very funny how she's so bad. On mute, she looks like she's eating, but she's not. She's not. But look how cute. Like, this is so cute. I love karaoke. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give her a big $20 tip, which isn't, like, crazy big in this game. Like, 20 bucks is a pretty good tip for, like, not in this game. I think, if I actually don't know. Well, we're gonna reset her because, and I tipped her because I feel bad about that, but I do want to have, oh wait, I don't have Rio in my household, so I can't really control him, can I? Okay, he's playing guitar over here, but I kind of need you to do it over here, bud. We're gonna have to ask to extend the date because I want it to be extended. My game is, like, lagging like crazy. We're gonna ignore that Rio's apparently late for work. I can't actually have him busk because he needs a guitar in his inventory and he didn't bring one, so yeah. Why don't we get some foods? Wait, are we not on a date anymore? Whatever, it doesn't really matter. We're getting food, but I can't really have Rio get food. Oh, okay, we're doing that. Anyway, I just feel like Rio is obviously just so happy. Like, he is absolutely beaming. He is so happy to be out in the sun. He's just, you can't really describe how he's feeling right now. He's finally getting what he's been longing for so long. It feels like it's only gonna go up from here for him. And, like, unlike every single other person in this series right now, he's doing pretty well. And it is beautiful to watch, his happiness. But Elena definitely is, in the back of her mind during all of it. This isn't a Rio versus Elena type thing. It's more, it's difficult to celebrate, even if they were all just friends, it's difficult to celebrate one person having a good time when somebody else is really struggling with a similar issue. So the date's over, so I guess we'll go home. She's beautiful! Next episode, we need an Elena date. Definitely need to just give her some love. I feel like Rio wanted to spend time with Isadora because he's so happy to be human, but Elena, poor Elena, must be having a hard time right now because he can't be human. So we gotta be there for her. Alright, now back home. We do have some things to address from last episode. We're still following this mystery ahead of us. And right now, what we need to do is translate whatever the text from the museum says. The guy from the museum wrote its words in a language unfamiliar to Isadora perfectly on a scroll. He was very good at transcribing this language. It looked exactly like what was on the tablet, so maybe he knows what it says, but I think he would have told us if he did. Maybe he just had a lot of free time on his hands and like transcribing languages he doesn't understand. I don't know, he's kind of weird. Hey neighbor, I'm bored. Want to hang out for a bit? We can socialize or do whatever your heart desires. You know what? I was just about to get to this. I think one of our best shots at figuring out what it says is maybe asking Soren. And he just showed up because he wants to hang out, which is like not really normal for him, but I'm gonna let him in because that's like so lucky. Now, we don't really know what type of language it is, if it's related to vampires or if it's just like an old language. And if it's related to vampires, it might be something that Soren understands. So we might ask him about it. I invite Pandora over as well because she is doing this with us, and I'd like her to try to help us explain to Soren exactly what we're doing without giving like anything we don't want to give away. So Pandora is here, so I'm gonna create a group with the three of them. We're trying to sit together, but Pandora has decided to sit on our bed instead of on the couch. Okay, she's cleaning her bathtub now. Not necessary. Can we focus? Okay, there we go. No, Pandora, stay here, please. So I think they're gonna start out by asking him if he can translate it, because we don't have to explain to him what it is if he can't read it. If he can't read it, it won't give anything away, and we won't have to give like any of our secrets away. So we're just gonna first ask him like, so we have this like scroll thing, and it has words on it that we don't really know. Do you know them by any chance? It's definitely a suspicious thing to ask, but it's fine. So the scroll's over here. So yeah, we're just gonna let Soren look at it for a second, because we don't really know what he knows about what it might say. He looks at it for a good amount of time. We can't really read his expression. I think he's just concentrating really hard. He seems to remember something. And then he said something. What the hell is this? Can you read it? Isadora isn't sure where he's going with this. Soren replies, "You don't have to. Where did you get this?" "I've seen this before. It was on this stone tablet. Daniel wouldn't tell me what it said, but I looked at it for so long I recognize all these symbols. Nathaniel wouldn't tell me what it said. But he had some strange guys over to the cabaret once, and they seemed to know what it said. They seemed pretty thrilled to tell me, actually. I've kept it in my head ever since, because it was just really weird. I was going to investigate why Nathaniel hid it from me, because I didn't understand, but I forgot about it at this point." "Well, what does it say?" Pandora asks. "I don't know if I should be telling you, but it honestly didn't seem that significant to me. It's just some creepy verse, or a parable, a warning, maybe a poem. Who knows what it is? I wouldn't have thought it was worth anything if Nathaniel wasn't purposely hiding it from me, but maybe it really was worth nothing. After all, the tablet disappeared from Nathaniel's care at some point, and it must not have been that important, because he never bothered to get it back." That makes Isadora wonder, did the guy from the Gargoyle Repository steal the tablet from Nathaniel? Isadora wishes she knew more of that story. I didn't seem fit enough to go one-on-one with Nathaniel, the most powerful vampire in San Myshuno, to our knowledge. They provide Soren a piece of paper, but he stops before he can actually write anything. I don't know if I should be telling you this. Maybe not, Isadora replies honestly. But this is all we can find about this Ambrosia Hollow place, and it seems somehow related to, something. Ambrosia Hollow? What is that? Soren does not seem to understand a word she just said. I think we might have to fill him in on some things if he's going to trust us enough to tell us what it says. So Pandora and Isadora are going to try to explain how Isadora not being able to leave after her attack led them to research vampire history, or just history related to see if anybody had a similar condition, and then San Myshuno history, and then they found information about a massacre in San Myshuno that can be linked to Ambrosia Hollow, which is a place they've been hearing a bit about in the investigation, but they still don't really understand what it is. We've reached a bit of a dead end with Isadora's issue with leaving, unless our problem is somehow linked to the disappearances nearby. But when discovering San Myshuno history, I do think Isadora and Pandora did realize that there might be a link between disappearances now and past massacres, because the one in San Myshuno was really close nearby, and the one in Ambrosia Hollow was mysteriously mentioned in the archive's papers, which means something considering everything in the archive is there for a reason. So even if we reached a dead end with our whole unable to leave the city thing, we may be able to uncover who is behind the killings if we keep going down this path. Quick side note though, I really do hope you guys are following. I'm not trying to be confusing, but there is a lot going on, so just let me know. We explained most things to Soren, as none of it should technically be a problem, except for maybe the fact we went snooping in the archives. We don't need to talk about that part. This is also our first time actually telling him the details of this situation. Soren too kind of seems surprised that Nathaniel's tablet somehow ended up in a erratic guy's home museum. Quickly does mention that he doesn't think he's ever heard of a guy named Melvin Balderas. But he does seem a lot more receptive now to writing the translation for us, because Soren has been looking further into the day massacres a lot, and the fact that their investigation is centered around that is kind of important, and it makes him want to help them. Soren speaks after all of this explaining that they've done. Well, I had no idea that you guys were looking into the massacres. I've been working on trying to figure things out for so long, but I've just hit dead end after dead end. I'd be happy to help with your investigation further. The murders have been a plague to this club, and I'm at a loss for what to do. He's actually very grateful and relieved that the two of them have accidentally maybe uncovered a link, and promises to be of assistance when he can. He also shows sympathy for Isadora and her personal issue. Nobody can seem to figure out, even if we are figuring out some other stuff. Finally, Soren reveals to them what the tablet reads. Limited only by the confines of blood and stake, worship the fangs for eternity. Mortality may shatter, your body may break. Do not open those sacred doors, do not wait upon flesh and bone. Do not let the enchanted wander, do not allow its presence, or harbor it in your soul. Turn your back to the great shadow and hope it never escapes, entrapped to the curse below. It will devour this town with its razor teeth, and it will descend like a cursed storm. I mean, yeah, Soren's right. That just does sound like a really confusing poem, doesn't it? they're emoting together. We are just going to quickly thank Soren for helping us translate it. It's not, the most helpful for our investigation. At least that's how it appears, because what in the world does that poem even mean? But yeah, we're just gonna, thank him again, and I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask him to leave and try to collect our thoughts with Pandora. So, we've got some choices of where to go from here. This is extremely nerve-wracking. We're just gonna head through a door. We're gonna see what is here. They enter the room. What they see is unexpected. They are met with this wall covered in dried blood, cracks, and a symbol that feels a little familiar. Isadora knows she's seen it before, but she can't remember when. As they go a little further, start to see even more unsettling things. Statues, coffins, and walls upon walls, bones. It's a catacombs. What the hell is a catacombs doing under a nightclub? This is surely unsettling for anybody, but Isadora has a very deep feeling of unease. Logically, a catacombs could be under almost anything if it was built beforehand. Logically, there are reasons that a catacombs could be here that aren't completely sinister, but the cabaret has been here for a long time, at least, and Nathaniel's owned this land even longer. While Isadora's down here, she starts feeling shivers down her spine. But it's a lot worse than it should be. She is cold. She is so cold. She's starting to profusely shiver. She senses something really, really unsettling. Is not feeling too good. Her teeth are chattering. She's feeling so cold. And she feels like she needs to get out of here. They need to get out of here. It's a catacombs. What more is there to see? Sure, the symbol is unsettling to say the least, and we've definitely seen it somewhere before, but there's no use standing around by it when Isadora is feeling the way she is. Pandora is concerned. Nathaniel built the cabaret from scratch, and between the tablet and the fact the cabaret is directly connected to the catacombs on purpose, Nathaniel knew about this. He probably built it, so why? Why is there no trace of it in the archives, the floor plans, or the blueprints of the cabaret? She's seen it extensively. She's studied everything she possibly can study about the cabaret. So what is this place? And if Nathaniel's been here the whole time, whose bones line the walls? So Pandora has brought Isadora home, and she's doing her best to make Isadora comfortable, hopefully stopping the rampant chills that Isadora is feeling. She doesn't really plan on leaving until Isadora is completely alright. Isadora asks if Pandora is okay, but Pandora says she's fine, probably because she's a vampire. She probably isn't that affected by the cold. She just seems very, very set on sticking around until Isadora feels better. Throughout our time working with her, we definitely have begun to notice Pandora seems quite worried about us, almost protective, just really doing her best to keep us safe. And while she's helping Isadora, she has risked a lot. She almost burnt in the sun helping us figure out what happened at the city borders. She risked Nathaniel's trust when she brought us to the archives. Who knows what would have happened if Nathaniel caught them any of these times. So Isadora is maybe going to ask why Pandora seems to be protecting her all the time, and risking so much to do so. Pandora pauses, possibly not thrilled by the question, I'm sure, but Isadora doesn't really expect her to open up, but probably hopes she will. I don't normally get to know humans. I wouldn't have engaged with you at all if it wasn't for your serious involvement in what is going on. And with the record of the past human workers getting attacked, it only makes sense as club security to keep an eye on you. I didn't risk enough last time for those other humans when they were in trouble, and before that, I didn't risk enough either. Overall, you're a victim in this. You're in a world of vampires as a human. If you don't have a vampire to back you up, you don't stand much of a chance. Isadora wants to argue, but that's probably absolutely true, and she's grateful, really. She's feeling very vulnerable in all of this, but she has been feeling better with Pandora backing her up all the time. And you seem like the type of person who would investigate anyway, and it's best you don't do so alone, Pandora adds. Once again, Pandora is right. I got it from my mama. She solved 2 murder cases when she was my age, you know. Pandora seems a little surprised by this information, but doesn't ask more questions. You know, Isadora got some answers, but know that Pandora has answered some questions, she's wondering if Pandora will maybe answer some more. Isadora's kind of been wondering what really is going on with Pandora, Soren, Nathaniel. Things seem kind of complicated. They seemed to trust him before all of this, but maybe not now. Well, it can't hurt to ask. Can I ask, what's the deal with you and Nathaniel? Isadora almost immediately regrets asking. After all, she's been a little snoopy this whole time, and this really doesn't help with that. Pandora sighs, but it doesn't seem like she's sighing because she's mad at the question. Well, he turned me, and I've been here since. Okay. Anything else you'd like to share, Pandora? That's me talking, not Isadora. Isadora is going to push just a little more. I mean, when was that? How did you get here? After all of that, I stayed with the cabaret a lot. I had a lot of questions left to be answered, and my friend stuck with me. Everything took a turn when I found my friend outside of the cabaret one night. They were dying, and I mean, really, really dying. I asked Nathaniel, I begged Nathaniel to turn her in her last moments. I knew at that point vampirism would save her. Vampirism is the way to be alive after death. She was going to die anyway, that I wanted her to stay around, but Nathaniel refused. He said it was too late. I don't know if I'll ever know if that was really true. Pandora tries to tell the story with a coldness, like she's trying not to relive it again by telling it like a myth or a fairy tale. Just very disconnected, but some emotion definitely seeps through the cracks. I begged him to turn me afterwards. If I had been a vampire then, I could have saved her myself, or at least tried. When I was 18, he did, because it would only make him a more powerful master vampire to have more vampires under his wing. He didn't think much of me for a long time. The cabaret needed a bouncer or security, so I proved my use. That story was not something that Isadora was expecting to hear from Pandora. She doesn't really know what to say in response, and she feels bad about that because who knows how many people Pandora has really told about this. She really doesn't seem like the type to share. But things definitely are making a little bit more sense now. In the beginning of this journey, she said that she thought vampirism was going to save lives, that it saved lives, and Isadora's starting to see why she thinks that. She remembers there was slight talk of who was going to be the next Nathaniel of the cabaret if he ever isn't here, which, who knows if that'll happen, but I think she's gonna ask, like, so is that kind of why you want to be the next cabaret leader, so you can do more to save people? Yeah, Soren would make a fine leader. It's not that I need to be, but nobody really knows what Nathaniel is thinking, but I don't always agree with Nathaniel to the level Soren does. Nathaniel doesn't always have the cabaret's initial values in mind when making decisions, which is peace among vampires and humans, harmony. Knowing that, I will probably end up working for Soren someday, when or if Nathaniel retires. I mean, it's just a club. Running it shouldn't be this complicated. Pandora sighs. But recently, Nathaniel has been worrying. The way he treats you, the way he deals with this whole situation, with threats and avoidance. She looks very conflicted. But Nathaniel did take me in after I lost everybody. I owe him for that. Isadora wonders if all the vampires in the cabaret were taken in by Nathaniel, because it seems Pandora and Rio, at least, see him as family. Strange, difficult family, but still family. Isadora just finally asks, have you turned anyone to save them? Pandora just nods. She might not want to talk anymore. Isadora is left to think. I feel like maybe making drinks might make her feel a little better, or at least help clear her head or take her mind off things. And it looks like it's not doing a very good job of keeping her mind off things, to be honest, because she doesn't seem very focused on making drinks, and she does end up shattering a bottle or two. And it seems like she's actually cut herself kind of badly. So we're gonna ignore the leaking toilet for now, and she's gonna have to bandage up her hands and all. Kind of unfortunate. She's never hurt herself like that before doing bar tricks. So she's happy that Pandora shared with her, but she's troubled by Pandora's story. So she's gonna go to bed. At 2 p.m. Okay, sorry. Time is weird. She's like literally nocturnal. She will have work in a bit. Actually, she won't, because, fun fact, I had to get rid of the mod that lets me do her career because it wouldn't let me load into my game at all. So I kind of needed to get rid of it, and it has been updated in 6 years. Yeah, we're just gonna have to go there and pretend that we're the official bartender, which kind of sucks, but whatever. She's gonna sleep until it's about that time. We're gonna wake up. Hopefully her hands won't be too hurt for her to be doing bar work. All right, Isadora is up. I think she's gonna get herself something to eat, and then she'll check on her hands under the bandages. We gotta switch out the bandages because there's some blood soaked on the old ones. As she is taking bandages off, she notices something kind of weird. Her hands are completely fine. There is nothing under the bandages. Did she imagine what her cuts last night? That doesn't make any sense because there was blood all over the bandages. What the hell happened? That is where we're going to leave today's episode. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. It's obviously, I really hope you enjoyed this comeback episode. Please let me know if you're overly confused about something and you shouldn't be confused about. There are things you're supposed to be confused about. But there are also things that I want, the things I've explained hopefully are clear enough. So please let me know what you think. A lot happened this episode, so there's a lot of things to think about. And yeah, I will see you guys next week for another episode of the Rosewood Legacy Dead of Night.